Teenager drowns in a Corpus Christi hotel pool. Family and complete strangers say goodbye to a fallen soldier from Galveston. A fresh wave of terrible twisters in the Midwest one day after a tornado killed several people in Kansas. And the Rockets play to stay. It is Game 7 in the first round playoff series. We are live at Toyota Center.
First in HD. 11 News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Sharon Minchow. Vicente Arenas has the night off. Thanks for joining us. Grief counselors will be at Willow Ridge High School on Tuesday to help students deal with the loss of a band member. She died while on a field trip in Corpus Christi. She and the band were supposed to perform in a Cinco de Mayo parade there, but that never happened because she drowned in a hotel pool. We sent 11 News reporter Rux Russell to the teenager's school in Fort Bend County to get reaction.
Willow Ridge High School is in mourning. Members of the marching band shocked and saddened by the sudden loss of one of their own.
I'm still thinking about, like, is this, real?
David LaFleur is one of several band members who agreed to meet with us less than 24 hours after their field trip turned tragic. A 10th grade French horn player drowned in the swimming pool at this Corpus Christi hotel where the band had traveled this weekend to perform in a parade.
People were saying they praying for her, trying to get her name, pray. Ladies in bathing suits that were doctors went up there and tried to help her out.
The victim, a teenage girl, had been in the pool with other band members when she was reported missing. Her body was found near the bottom of the pool a short time later. This group has won numerous awards and performed all over the world. But this weekend there was no performance, just the grim reality that one band member is now silent.
I'm handling it. I'm doing okay right now. I'm trying to keep myself together, but it's going to take a while to get over the fact that she's really gone.
The victim's friends tell me she was actually a section leader in the band and played a very prominent role. Her absence will be felt by everyone. I can tell you that this band is telling me that they might even consider some sort of a tribute in the coming days and weeks to their fallen friend. I'm reporting live in Fort Bend County tonight. Rux Russell, 11 News.
Several Little League baseball games in the city of South Houston had to be rescheduled today after the discovery of a body. Investigators tell us a man apparently shot in the face was found this morning in a vehicle near a city park. It's believed the victim was killed during the course of a robbery. 3 nearby baseball diamonds were closed while investigators examined the scene. 9 games were affected. Houston police tell us a father was killed overnight when he took the shots intended for his son. 41-year-old Reginald Johnson's 3 children reportedly got into a brawl with 2 teens. That was last night outside their apartment in the 6400 block of West Belford. When the gunman pulled a weapon, investigators say Johnson stepped in front of his 19-year-old son. Johnson was shot several times. The Hurricane Katrina evacuee died at the hospital. Authorities are searching for 2 suspects. Harris County deputies are looking for an apparent drive-by shooter riding in a small, dark-colored 2-door vehicle. According to witnesses, 4 to 6 shots were fired at a transport van on US 59. A passenger, Arturo Villegas, was struck. The van's driver left him and 2 family members on the side of the road where Villegas died. Authorities say the van was carrying illegal immigrants to Seattle. There is no clear motive for the shooting. A final salute to a young Galveston soldier killed last week in Iraq. 11 News reporter Carla Baguirena was there today as friends and strangers bid farewell to Army Specialist Eddie Tames.
It was more than a row of red, white, and blue.
It's so emotional to see this.
It was a sign of support during a family's worst nightmare.
It's a sad affair. It's just sad. That's the only thing we can do, show respect.
Respect for Army Specialist Eddie Tames' ultimate sacrifice came from more than 150 Patriot Guard riders. Men and women who would never get to meet the eager soldier.
We may not have known him, but we know what he did for us and what others have done for us in protecting our freedoms.
Showing up during the funeral procession was the only thing many knew to do.
Not waste the lives of the ones that have died, trying their best to bring freedom to them.
That was certainly the case for this soldier who recently celebrated his 21st birthday in Iraq. He was deployed 3 months ago and killed after an explosive device went off near his vehicle.
His family pleaded with him not to go. After all, he had just returned from a 2-year tour of duty in Germany. But Soldier Tames insisted it was his obligation to serve the country, and only recently re-enlisted for another 3 years.
Ever since he was little, he wanted to go to war.
He may still look little in his Army picture, but his cousin believes he was more grown up than ever.
He's more man than I could ever think of. I mean, to be able to risk his life for all of us, it's hard.
Hard for a young bride who will never grow old with her partner, and for an entire community who today said goodbye to yet another local hero. In Galveston, Carla Barrierena, 11 News.
Meantime, the death of this soldier from Sugar Land is under investigation. Private First Class 19-year-old Graham Harris was killed this week. He was at a U.S. operations base in Afghanistan. His family says he was on guard duty when enemy fire hit him. Deputies are trying to find out if anyone owns 3 dogs that attacked a group of goats. It happened this morning in Montgomery County. A pit bull and 2 German Shepherd mixes broke through the fence of a goat pen, killed 1 goat, and injured 2 others. Animal control officers eventually captured the dogs. At this time, it's not clear to whom they belong.
There was no leashes or collars on any of the dogs, and so I really don't know.
We're told if a dog owner is found, he or she will receive a citation for today's attack. But chaining up aggressive dogs is not the answer, at least not in Texas City. A new anti-chain ordinance goes into effect there tomorrow. In March, we told you about the law that would ban residents from chaining their dogs. Many believe a dog only becomes more aggressive and prone to attack if it's tied to a fence or tree. Some owners say it takes away their rights as pet owners. Well, how would you like to live next door to a 22-story tall landfill? Well, that's why residents near the McCarty landfill are protesting. They voiced their concerns during a town hall meeting hosted by Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. Allied Waste operates the 300-acre landfill in northeast Harris County. It is proposing a vertical expansion of 122 additional feet. That would make the landfill as high as 316 feet.
It's not going to change the amount of acres. It's not going to change the types of waste that we take. It's not going to change the volume that we take. It's basically just going to allow us to build it a little bit higher to continue in business.
We do not want the expansion. We don't want them to stay another 10 years. I think they should be looking elsewhere.
The McCarty Road landfill has been operating since 1972. Permits have been granted for the vertical expansion, but residents are appealing, citing safety and health concerns. An appeals hearing is expected at the end of the month. All right, tonight it is do or die for the Houston Rockets as they are close to wrapping up Game 7 of Round 1 of the NBA playoffs. The enemy? The Utah Jazz. Sports anchor Butch Alcindor is here to bring us up to speed. Butch.
Thank you very much, Sherman. Some food for thought. Now, the Rockets have not won a playoff series in 10 years. And superstar Tracy McGrady, well, he's never been beyond the first round. Could they cast out those ghosts tonight in Game 7 versus the Jazz? Let's go out to 11 Sports Director Giff Nielsen for an update. Giff?
All right, Butch, obviously this is a winner-take-all situation with the winner moving on to the second round of the playoffs, the loser going home, and so the Rockets obviously want to play well, but they're not doing very well right now. Let's pick up the highlights and show you just exactly what happened. They worked the ball inside to Yao early, post-up move, he hits the jumper to start the game. But when Gordon Giracek nailed the three-pointer, the Jazz took a 7-point lead to end the first quarter. Rockets' troubles continued in the second quarter as Yao couldn't get anything to fall, and the Jazz taking advantage with the clock winding down. Check this out. Darren Williams hits the runner as Utah taking a 10-point lead to the break, 53-43. In the second half, if you can believe this, look at Yao. He is down. He's holding the knee that he had a problem with during the season, and we didn't know the extent of what happened underneath or what is going on, but he's being checked. Well, we can tell you that Yao came back in the game. He just scored a basket, and it's 58-51, the Jazz in the third quarter. And Butch, as we toss it back to you, we'll tell you that the Rockets were actually down 16 points in the first half, but they battled back to just get within 10 at halftime. And of course, coming back in our regular sports segment, we'll have an update and try and get a little bit more information on Yao Ming. The Rockets need to kick it in or they're going home.
Thank you very much, Giff. We will see you then. Also coming up, the Astros had one of those days that will put a smile on everyone's face. I'll talk about that, plus the Run for the Roses that's coming up later in sports.
Shifting gears, a terrible tornado killed at least 9 people in Kansas, and that number is expected to rise.
When I heard that noise, I never heard it before in my life, and I said, Dad, we need to go to the basement now.
Why emergency crews are halting their search for more victims. And no more partying for Paris Hilton for a while. Pretty soon, these will be the only bars she'll see when she heads to jail. JFK's hearse has gone to the highest bidder. How much someone was willing to pay for this piece of history.
And a fresh wave of tornadoes hit Kansas. We've had totals of up to 44 tornadoes in the Midwest. A major weather event unfolds. We'll be looking at this coming up in weather in just a moment.
They're high-priced, high-tech weapons. But are they dependable when the lives of Houston police are on the line?
It's not working as often as it should.
11 News uncovers documents that reveal alarming problems with HPD's tasers. Sunday on 11 News at 10. Closed captioning is brought to you by Finger Furniture.
Super Sunday is back at Finger Furniture.
Super savings.
Save 23 to 54% off everything.
Finger's low price guarantee means you won't buy it for less anywhere.
Or we'll pay you double the difference.
Super selection.
Finger's $30 million selection is far and away the biggest in Houston.
Super financing.
With no interest for up to 2 full years.
And with Finger Snap Delivery, enjoy your new furniture when you want it.
Super Sunday is at your Fingers.
I've done this about 10 years now, and I've yet to do it right the first time, okay?
Pagamos en billetas.
Yeah! Y'all got to say something. But how do you get excited when you're saying something so boring?
Every family has different needs, different dreams. That's why at Plantation Homes, we build every home with family as our blueprint. From the space you need to grow to the luxury to help you grow in style, we design each plantation home on a foundation that will last a lifetime, your family. After all, the heart of every home is family, and at the heart of every family is an exceptional home. Plantation Homes, exceptional living.
Eating at Sonic, it's like going on a vacation.
How's that?
Well, you have the tropical mango tea. That's like you're in the tropics.
The BLT then would be...
I'm right back in America's heartland.
Yeah, little tropics.
Where you at? What island you on? I'll go find you.
I don't know, Tahiti somewhere.
Oh, hey, buddy.
Oh, hey.
You mind if I crash in your hotel for a while?
Even on your fantasy vacation, you're mooching off of me.
BLT and tropical mango tea. Sonic's got it, others don't. 2 refreshing springtime treats together for just $2.99. And stop in for dessert tonight because Sonic's even sweeter after dark.
I am glad to look you right in the eye and tell you Coit does a great job.
Right now, save 1/3 on all carpet, drapery, upholstery, air duct, and tile and grout cleaning.
Call for Coit.
I'm Jason Whiteley. You've heard a lot about the Houston Police Department's tasers, but not this story. Officers tell us the delicate weapon sometimes fails them when they need it most. In fact, we discovered more than 20% of HPD's tasers, that's roughly 1 in 5, have been turned in with problems.
Could you imagine if 1 in 5 handguns that officers were carrying failed to discharge when the officer's life was in jeopardy? No, it's unacceptable.
HPD is firing back. Hear its response tomorrow at 10.
Another round of bad weather has forced rescue crews in Kansas to call off the search for more victims of last night's deadly tornado. At least 9 people were killed and dozens more were hurt. The twister tore through the town of Greensburg, that's 110 miles west of Wichita. Reporter Drew Levinson spoke to survivors and found out what's next for the town, which was nearly wiped off the map.
The skies still threaten the town of Greensburg, Kansas, but most folks here have their eyes on the ground, on the devastation a mile-wide tornado left behind.
Suddenly the roof went, and now the ceiling fell down in.
Julie Harshis made it outside of her home before passing out. She woke up in the back of a pickup truck, headed to the hospital. Debbie Vincenhaler barely reached her basement before the twister tore her home off its foundation.
I don't know, it happened so fast, and we just hung on to each other for dear life to make sure we wasn't going to lose one of us.
Fewer than a dozen casualties have been reported so far, but authorities feel confident that number is going to rise over the next few days as authorities sift through the debris. The Greensburg tornado was fueled by a strong storm system that also spawned twisters in Oklahoma. But it was the tornado here that wiped out entire neighborhoods and pulverized the city's business district.
95% of this community is gone. And how are we going to rebuild?
A question the 1,500 residents are asking themselves as many spend their first night at shelters in neighboring communities. In Greensburg, Kansas, Drew Levinson, 11 News.
And at this hour, the National Weather Service is telling us there have been some 44 new tornadoes reported in that same area of Kansas. And Mario is joining us now. Is that as scary as it sounds?
Yeah, it's really incredible tonight. We do have a particularly dangerous situation developing around Kansas and really from the plains of South Dakota all the way into the areas of Oklahoma once again. In 6 counties alone in Kansas, we do have double-digit reports of tornadoes dropping out of the sky this evening, Sherman, and the count so far stands at about 44 for the entire Midwestern section of the nation. A total of 88 reports of either tornadoes or damaging winds or very large hail. We could even see baseball-sized hail tonight and wind gusts up to 70 miles an hour. And the areas that are going to be hard hit tonight will be areas right across the heart of the nation, right through Tornado Alley, where all this moist air is coming out of Texas as it collides with this generally cold air moving out of the plains, slightly drier, colder air moving around the lee side of the Rockies. We're getting this clashing air masses. Very classic tornado night across this area of the Midwest, and you can see as this moist air continues to ride along the plain states, we'll see even more tornado outbreaks tonight, especially around Kansas and Nebraska. This is where we particularly have a very dangerous situation developing this evening. You can see the tornado watch areas extends till about 3 o'clock tonight. All these supercells are coming to life, not only in portions of the plains, but even in the Texas Panhandle. We've had reports around La Mesa and around Amarillo of tornado touchdowns, even in our own state. As you can see, the tornado watch extends well into the western sections of the state, all the way to Midland. But here in Houston, the weather couldn't be better tonight. There are no reports of any rainfall whatsoever. 79 degrees, humidity is high. Our dew points, again, very high, and it's all this moist air that's rising across the Midwest. It's creating the necessary fuel for all these severe storms. Barometric pressures remain very, very low. Another indicator or parameter for severe weather is this low moves out of the plain states and across the Midwest. Southeastern winds also kicking up this moisture towards the Midwest. The temperatures in Houston today made it to 86. These are above normal temperatures. Even our overnight lows were warm and muggy, 76 degrees. Had trace amounts of rain today, really not much more than a sprinkle. It's probably all you saw in your windshield with those intermittent wipers popping up from time to time. But that was all that warm moisture coming out of the Gulf of Mexico. It was so moist today, the atmosphere just kind of released some of that. As you can see, there's a couple of showers down in the Gulf waters, but this trough is the most probably unstable area of the state. We will see some storm clouds that could become severe tonight in this area. As you can see, the air is moist and unstable, and that will continue to fire up thunder showers right in through Sunday afternoon. But the Gulf Coast, for the most part, will stay out of it. As you'll see in our forecast, the numbers coming up in Houston tomorrow, again, warm and very muggy, clouds around tomorrow. We'll only see a slight chance for a passing isolated shower through the course of the afternoon. But much like today, all the severe weather stays in the upper Midwest, Sherman, and the numbers stay very warm and humid, with the clashing air masses providing more severe storms tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if you wake up in the morning and the headlines are all about the weather and the sheer number of tornadoes in the upper Midwest.
Everybody will be checking in on that in the morning.
Sure will.
Thanks, Mario. Well, here at home, no rain, just heat today for Cinco de Mayo parade in downtown. The League of United Latin American Citizens sponsored this annual rolling festival that showcases Mexican culture. Another Cinco de Mayo parade made its way through the streets of Texas City today. The event, sponsored by the city, Cinco de Mayo celebrates Mexico's defeat of the French at the Battle of Puebla in 1862. Thousands of spectators lined the banks of Buffalo Bayou today for the 7th annual Houston Dragon Boat Festival. More than 30 teams competed in this year's races. The event also included dance performances, live music, and other fun activities to celebrate Asian and Asian American culture. Some proceeds from today's event will go towards youth and breast cancer survivor programs. And now we have an update on a local museum's quest for cockroaches. Yeah, and you may have heard Paris Hilton is headed to jail. See the new digs where the celebutante will live for 45 days.
This week, 11 News This Morning was first to bring you breaking news.
We've been continuing to watch a story.
Plus, when severe weather hit Houston, you got every angle and constant updates.
High water in certain spots.
Watch 11 News This Morning make sense of your world.
Yoga will help you become one with the universe.
Like Time Warner Cable?
Who?
Time Warner Cable. They'll bundle your digital cable, internet, and home phone services into one bill. It'll save you money.
I see.
And it's only $99 a month.
Nice.
Pretty impressive, huh? Combine your digital cable, internet, and home phone services on one bill for only $99 a month.
If you have arthritis pain in your knee but think total knee replacement is your only option, here's good news. Biomet now offers a partial knee replacement. It's called the Oxford Partial Knee, and it's the only one of its kind. Unlike most knee implant procedures, the Oxford knee is minimally invasive. It uses a smaller incision, so most patients have a more rapid recovery. And with the Oxford Partial Knee from Biomet, only a portion of the knee is replaced. You keep the healthy parts. Why get a total knee when maybe all you need is a partial knee from Biomet?
Individual results may vary. Surgery involves potential risks and requires recovery time. The life of any joint replacement will depend on your age, weight, activity level, and other factors. Only an orthopedic surgeon can determine if surgery is right for you.
If you're living with constant joint pain, don't wait. Find a surgeon in your area and ask about the Oxford Partial Knee.
Biomet, advanced science for real living.
This portion of the news is brought to you by McDonald's.
What? Chicken for breakfast, girl. I knew there was something freaky about you.
It's McDonald's new chicken biscuit. Try it. It's not freaky. It's good.
Freaky good! Try something new for breakfast. McDonald's Southern Style Chicken Biscuit. Juicy all-white meat chicken breast on a warm buttermilk biscuit.
Come on, don't leave me hanging.
Police are still searching for the vandals who destroyed Ball High School's mascot. Students tell us Tuffy the Tornado was kidnapped from their school on the island last Saturday. The mascot was found Wednesday night in a field on 7 Mile Road, torn up and beaten up. Anyone with information on the case is asked to call Galveston ISD. This story comes to you through our partnership with the Galveston County Daily News. The white Cadillac hearse that carried President John F. Kennedy's body from the hospital to Love Field has been sold. We're told the winning bid was $900,000. It was among the vehicles available at a classic car auction at the Lakewood Yacht Club in Seabrook. But there are few takers for a big cockroach catch here. Earlier this week, we told you how the Houston Museum of Natural Science was offering 25 cents for every live, healthy American cockroach brought in. Oh my. The museum was looking for 1,000 to be part of a display. So far, they've only got 50. So if you're brave enough, you can still bring in bugs through the 19th. And exactly 1 month from today, hotel heiress Paris Hilton will be reporting to jail. This is video of her returning to her West Hollywood home last night. A judge had just sentenced her to 45 days in jail for driving with a suspended license. That's a violation of her probation in an alcohol-related reckless driving case. Now, this is where the 26-year-old will stay, the not-so-luxurious Century Regional Detention Center in Linwood. She'll be getting 3 meals a day, will not be allowed any work release, and punishment of punishments, Hilton will not be able to use her cell phone. The horses at the Kentucky Derby were not the only attraction at the race. There was also the Queen of England. The Queen has been breeding horses in Kentucky for years and visits the state occasionally. But this is the first time she has attended the Derby. Some say her presence gave the world's most famous horse race a royal air. We'll hear who won the race coming up in sports.
I'm Butch Alcindor. A live report on the Rockets and Jazz in Game 7. That's on deck. The Astros slipped on their hitting shoes in St. Louis, and the Dynamo was looking to find some offense in Denver. Don't go far. Sports is coming up next.
This was Johnny Romano a little more than a year ago while fighting a specific type of leukemia, an illness that required Johnny to have 10 transfusions in a little over 2 months. This is Johnny today. It's because of people like you who commit for life by donating once a quarter that Johnny is here today.
Donate once a quarter and commit for life.
Gulf Coast Regional Blood Center. Visit our website at giveblood.org.
Archer Farms, where incredible food grows every day.
You never know where life will take you, and that's why there are so many Chase ATMs. In fact, Chase has over 8,500 ATMs nationwide. Chase free checking with direct deposit. More than free, it's everywhere.
Many crew cabs on the road look like this. You wanted something with a little more meat on its bones. Sweet mercy. Introducing the all-new Tundra Crew Max. Ordinarily towing over 10,000 pounds meant eating your knees for lunch. You want a half-ton with the most legroom. For you and a meatball sub. Tasty. Available on the all-new Tundra Crew Max.
Your chance to sleep free, sleep better is almost over. Right now at Mattress Firm, sleep better with huge savings. Save $200 off our already low prices on the Sleep Number bed by Select Comfort. Sleep free with 0% interest for 1 year. For a limited time, get a free Mattress Firm Sleep Easy kit featuring the best-selling sleep book by Dr. Bruce. Now's the time to save at Mattress Firm. But hurry, sleep free, sleep better ends Tuesday.
Where it's easy to get a great night's sleep.
If the Rockets needed to be reminded of what it takes to win a championship, all they had to do was check out Akeem and his rings on the sideline. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Butch Alcindor. History was on the Rockets' side tonight, if you can believe that. They had never lost a Game 7 at home as they faced off against the Utah Jazz. Is that trend in good shape? For the answer, we turn to 11 Sports Director Giff Nielsen, who's outside of Toyota Center. Giff?
All right, Butch, it was great to see Hakeem here. Obviously, this is a tough physical basketball game. Tracy McGrady was holding his leg in the first quarter. Yao Ming was holding his leg in the second quarter, start of the third quarter. And when we last left you, that's where he was. Let's pick up the highlights and give you an update on how Yao is doing and how the Rockets are doing. This was the picture. Yao holding that right knee, and that was the knee that he had injured early on in the season. But he came back. Look at the big guy underneath. From T-Mac, that was an easy basket. The Rockets attacking the basket, and that's what they've got to do, and Tracy certainly had that feeling. Look at the little runner right here. The Jazz have no answer for that when he goes to the basket. T-Mac sharing the ball, a beautiful pass underneath to Chuck Hayes, and that's how you just get an easy basket. And the Rockets at one point had this game close to within 3. Watch the pass from Rayford to T-Mac. That's a beautiful play, and right now 71-64, the Jazz on top late in the third quarter. And of course the Rockets know that this is the last couple of minutes in the third quarter and the fourth quarter. They need to win it in order to move on and play Golden State. If they don't, it'll be Utah moving on and the Utah moving on and the Rockets going home. But we'll keep you posted. You can also get the latest on KHOU.com, Butch, but this is going to be a tight, tough one all the way down to the end.
Thank you very much, Giff. Moving on to baseball now. When the Astros took on the Cardinals, it was almost like watching a Houston high school game, with former Clemens star Matt Albers facing the pride of Elkins, Kip Wells. But it was all Astros in this one. Matt Albers went 7 1/3, allowing only 3 hits, while striking out 2, including the big bopper. Albert Pujols, take a seat, Albert. Astros would score 5 times in the 5th. Bases loaded for Carlos Lee, but not for long. He drives this one deep into the gap for a double, clearing the bases as the Astros went up 7-zip. Later, they kept pouring it on. This time, it was Hunter Pence with the bases juiced.
Well hit to left field. Hunter Pence with a grand slam bid. There it is. His first Major League homer is a grand slam.
Boy, that felt good for the Astros. They just rolled over the Cardinals today, 13-0. They will wrap up that series in St. Louis tomorrow. Meanwhile, love him or hate him, Barry Bonds is closing in on history.
And Lieber to Bonds, and Bonds hits one high and deep. Center field, it is gone.
Bonds is now only 11 homers behind Hank Aaron's record of 755. By the way, the G-Men won that game 9-4 over Philadelphia. Well, so far this season, the Dynamo has one win and one goal, a situation they were trying to improve on tonight in Denver, and it didn't start out so well. Roberto Brown shooting and scoring for the Rapids. It was 1-0 at that point, but then the Dynamo turned on the offense. Dwayne De Rosario had 2 goals. The Dynamo would score 3 consecutive goals. Right now they lead it 3-1 in the second half. Well, there was something for everyone at Churchill Downs today, but in the end, what you really needed was street sense to survive the 133rd running of the Kentucky Derby.
They are in the gate, and they're off in the Kentucky Derby.
20 horses broke from the gate, and early on, Street Sense was running 19th way in the back, but once jockey Calvin Burrell made his move, it was Catch Me If You Can, and no one did.
And here is Street Sense, a stretch-running sensation to win the Derby by 2.
It was a great run for Street Sense. Hard Spun came in second, followed by the favorite Curlin. Back here in town, we had a little taste of Churchill Downs at Sam Houston Race Park. They put on the annual Derby hat contest, and you had to really bulk up your neck just to wear one of these. Karen Davis had the most glamorous hat, and she also took home the top prize. And speaking of bulking up, this was the Lineman Challenge at a combine sponsored by